Victory Friday, Browns fans. I don't care if it's Victory Monday, Victory Tuesday, Victory Thursday, Wednesday, Friday. Doesn't matter. It still feels the great same feeling every single time. The Browns took down the Jets 37-20, and with that win, they have essentially, they've locked themselves a playoff spot. They have clinched a spot in the 2023 NFL playoffs. As we look at the updated AFC playoff picture, but in a lot of ways, they might have cemented themselves the number 5 spot, because if the Ravens just win one more game or if the Dolphins take care of business, the Browns can't go down. Even if the Browns lose to the Bengals, the Bills, or the Colts, none of those teams can catch them. So at worst, the Cleveland Browns are going to be the number 5 seed, but they could go all the way up to the 1 seed. But if you are ready for NFL playoff football, like today's video. Our channel record is 760 likes. I'm trying to break that on today's show. So if you have never liked a video before and you're looking to pop your cherry, this would be a good video to do it for. All right, that sounds weird. Let's talk news, though. So Jeff Driskel was signed to the Browns' active 53-man roster. They released defensive end Sam Kamara in a corresponding move. They plucked him off the Arizona Cardinals practice squad. And I really, really, really hope, I am praying to the injury gods, this is not about any sort of quarterback injury, because I can't handle another injury to a quarterback. So I probably believe, I believe this is, they might like Jeff Driskel as a backup more than P.J. Walker if it ever got to that point. But we'll have to wait and see. But for now, the Browns are on to, it started off with Dobbs. Hang with me for a second. It started with Watson, Dobbs, DTR, Kellen Mond, P.J. Walker, Joe Flacco, and now Jeff Driskel have all suited up as a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns at some point throughout the 2023 NFL season. Preseason all the way to today. But let's talk about what the Browns did on Thursday night. All right, and that was clinch a playoff spot. And I got some fun facts I want to share with you all here. Fun fact number 1. Browns head coaches with multiple 11-win seasons. Paul Brown and Kevin Stefanski. That's it. That's the list. It's got to be really tough for guys like Dalton Cochran and other viewers on the channel that hate Kevin Stefanski, and they've got to just wake up and go, I'd rather the Browns fail than I am wrong. So you know what? Shout out to everyone who has stood by Coach Stefanski. He has got this team kicking ass right now. Fun fact number 2. Here is a list of every Browns quarterback that has had 4 straight 300-plus yard games. Joe Flacco, and that's it. That's the list. Joe Flacco is the only quarterback in team history to have 4 consecutive 300-yard games. Fun fact number 3, and my personal favorite. The Cleveland Browns will finish with a better record than the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time since 1989, no matter what happens. Doesn't matter. The Browns have secured themselves at least 11 wins, and the Pittsburgh Steelers can't come close to it. That feels great. That hits different. That is my favorite fun fact of all 3, without a doubt. So now let's get into some news and rumors coming out of Berea. So, segment number 1. Joe Flacco is the best Browns quarterback since 1999. I'm giving it 4 Bernie heads. I mean, if you just go off the numbers, how can you not say Joe Flacco has been the best quarterback for this team since they came back in 99? And you could maybe even go as far to say further past that, but we will just keep it to 1999. Joe Flacco in 5 games is 4-1, 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. I mean, had Joe Flacco played at this level for a 17-game season, he would be the runaway favorite for MVP, and he still might get MVP because no one really seems to want to win that award this year. But if I look at the best 5-game stretch for the Browns since 1999, I put Joe Flacco at number 1, and then Baker Mayfield in 2020 had a really solid stretch, 10 touchdowns to 1 interception. Baker Mayfield in 2018 had a pretty good stretch as well. And then Derek Anderson back in 2007 had a pretty nice stretch along with it. But no one's got more yards than Joe Flacco, and no one's got more touchdowns than Joe Flacco. So in my eyes, it is the best 5-game stretch we have ever had from a Cleveland Browns quarterback since 1999. So show Flacco some Cleveland love right now and spam 15. The guy has been just bathing in the dog pound, chanting his name. You gotta, I can't even actually begin to fathom what that's like to know 60, 70,000 people are chanting Flacco. That's just the coolest feeling in the world if you're a quarterback. All right, second story on the docket. David Njoku, a dog? Yeah, he is. For Bernie heads, David Njoku is absolutely a dog. David Njoku has become one of my favorite players on this team, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. But today's show was made possible thanks to our friends over at Prize Picks. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Prize Picks, I'll get you guys up to speed. It's daily fantasy made easy. All you do is pick 2 to 6 players, choose more or less on their projected stats, and then if you go perfect, you could win up to 25 times your money. So, take college football playoff semifinal games. I've got the less on Michael Penix's passing yards against a pretty strong Texas defense. I've got the more on Jalen Milroe's passing yards against Michigan's defense, just 205.5 yards for Milroe. I like the more a lot on that one. And then finally, Texas star receiver Mitchell. I've got the more on his half touchdown mark. So if you like my selections, you can ride with me or you can fade me at prizepicks.com/CLNS. And make sure to use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Now, that link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. But let's talk about the Chief, and let's talk about what he has done over the last 4 games. 373 yards, the most by any player. I beg your pardon, the second most by any player in that stretch. 4 touchdowns off 28 grabs. I also want to share this next stat with you guys. So what I did here is I looked at David Njoku's stats in 2023, and then I compared them to his career highs from 2017 to 2022 for each statistical category. So in that prior stretch to 2023, his best season high was 88 targets. He's beat that, 123 this year. His receptions, 58. Beat that, 81. Yards in year 2, beat that. First downs, he had 36 first downs last year. He is 1 away from tying that record this year. And then touchdowns, I mean, he has completely just demolished the opponent when it comes to his, not just red zone ability, but what he's doing in between the 20-yard lines as well. But if that's not enough for you to love David Njoku, how about David Njoku hanging out with the dog pound after the game on Thursday night, taking shots with them in the Muni lot? I mean, David Njoku is a man of the people. The guy's a Cleveland Brown for life. Third segment. Should the Browns sign Jarvis Landry? I'm going to give it 1 Bernie head, right? I'm kind of factoring in 2 things, whether I think they should do it and whether I think they will do it. I ultimately lean more towards they're probably not going to call Jarvis Landry. But there has been a lot of Twitter buzz. It's hard to trace it back to who the original thought. But once Elijah Moore went down with a concussion and Amari Cooper missed Thursday with a heel injury, the wheels got moving on. Let's bring Juice back to the land. Now, he has not been on anyone's roster in 2023, not even on a practice squad or anything like that. Of course, he played 4 seasons for the Browns from 2018 to 2021. And for a stretch there, he was their best receiver in franchise history, at least from a consistency level, for who knows how long, right? Josh Gordon had a higher peak than Jarvis Landry, but you knew you were getting good, consistent play out of Landry every single week. Now, Jarvis Landry, unfortunately, has fallen off the last 4 years. You look at his last 1,000-yard season, and you got to go back to 2019. Even in 2020, when he played 15 games, just 840 yards. His last season in Cleveland, 570 yards, limited to 12 games. And then last year with New Orleans, he played in 9 games, 272 yards, and 1 touchdown. So it's pretty well documented that Jarvis Landry has had a fall from where he was as a NFL receptions leader at one point with the Miami Dolphins. Now, whether or not Landry makes sense for the Browns versus whether or not the Browns are going to be interested in Landry are two different things, right? I can see a lot of fans wanting to bring Jarvis Landry back. I can see people connecting the dots of the Browns need a wide receiver. Jarvis Landry knows this city. He knows Kevin Stefanski. He knows this team. So it makes sense on that front. But the only front that matters is, do the Browns have any interest in bringing Jarvis Landry back? I mean, they did kick the tires and then some with Kareem Hunt once Nick Chubb went down. So maybe they go down the same path. But the Browns left Jarvis Landry with very little aspirations to bring him back. So I don't think it's identical to them bringing Kareem Hunt back. Let me start off by saying as well, let's wait and see how serious Elijah Moore's injury is. Because with the Browns potentially having nothing to play for in Week 18 against the Bengals, if the Ravens win on Sunday, then they may as well just shut down Elijah Moore and give him nearly 3 weeks to rest and hopefully be ready for a playoff game. And the same goes for Amari Cooper. So they might not have a burning need for Jarvis Landry. But ultimately, if the Browns do need a wide receiver, you're not asking for a full season out of Jarvis Landry. We're asking for a couple of games. And I think even at this point of his career, he can give you a couple of good games. So let me know. Should the Browns bring back Landry? It would be rather poetic if Jarvis Landry returns and the Browns win a playoff game or two with juice and he gets to be a part of another nice playoff run for the Browns. I think that's something we can all get behind.